The so-called white woman. I have a hard time calling them white. I just do. I'm sorry. I just do. They're not white. I got eyes. I can see. I ain't blind yet. Okay? The so-called white woman said that she was afraid for her life. Where she learned that at? Like I said, in this white supremacy system. They learned that in school. They learned that in religion. I was going to go over the book of Thessalonians where they sit in their churches and they learn that. Give me that real quick. Just throw that out there. In white supremacy, the children are taught to see themselves as superior. Okay? So they not only do they learn that in school, but they also learn that in religion. You put a white Jesus in the church. Then you take it down. Hold it now. Then they take the image down and say, see, we don't teach white Jesus no more. You don't need to keep it up there because it's already in their minds. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let's get right to the point.
Yes, sir. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first.
There was a doctrine that the resurrection had already passed. So Paul was telling the Israelites there in Thessalonica that the day of our deliverance had not come yet. So that's why he was explaining. He said, don't let anybody fool you into thinking that it already passed, because the day that you're looking for shall not come until the nation of Israel goes completely down to the slave ships and everything else like we're coming up now. All that had to come to pass. Go ahead.
Except there come a falling away first.
Israel had to fall all the way down. Go ahead.
And that man of sin be revealed.
And also, what else has to happen before that day come? That man of sin had to be revealed. The so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. That had to be revealed. That had to be known in the planet Earth. So you understand the reason why they're so mad with us? Because that information got to come out before we get out of here. Everybody got to know that this is this the man that made the earth to tremble? How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? All that got to come out. The dragon, the 7 heads, all that got to come out. Who these red people really are. They're the red devils that the Bible speaks of. That's how, that information has to be out here. So don't look for the kingdom to come without that information coming out, along with the rest of the information that got to come out. Come on.
And that man of sin be revealed.
And that man of sin, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that dropped bombs on people? Old Lucifer. He had to be revealed. Go ahead.
The son of perdition.
The son of hell. That's him. He's the natural born killer. Go ahead.
Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
That's this man. He opposes, and he opposes everything about God. He tell you about Thebes. That was your thing. I was watching the class there. Thebes. You with me, Liam?
Yes, sir.
Thebes. Remember that?
You got to pick the child. The parent should not be allowed to pick the gender of the kid. They should be able to choose for themselves.
Thebes.
Thebes, yep.
Thebes. That's an opposer of God. God says if the boy is born with a penis and the girl is born with a vagina, their sex is determined from birth. These people say, no, hide the gender. Don't let them look at their own selves, because he'll grow up and he might not know that he has a penis. And he says, wait a minute, I'm a girl.
LGBT philosophy.
That's crazy as hell. That's an opposer. She said, who opposes? Why are you laughing?
That's crazy.
You're just thinking about it, right? And that's supposed to make sense. We also, like the scriptures say, we read earlier, except the Lord have left us a very small remnant, we should have all been like Sodom and Gomorrah. That's in Isaiah 1 and 9. That's what I was reading earlier. That small remnant was what I was showing you when we was marching through Chicago. And yes, the scriptures say march. How do you think the people going to see us? And the great fear fell upon all them that saw them. So they have to see us. Y'all understand that? Read.
Who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God.
And exalted himself above all that is called God. That's what he put in his churches. White images, so-called white images of Jesus, white images of the disciples, white images of God, the angels, all that. The Israelites made white people, so-called white people, the Israelites. That's what it's talking about. And exalted himself above all that is called God. What's the next part?
Or that is worshiped.
That's black people's problem right there. That's what you saw in the courtroom. We worship white folks. We worship them. We were made to worship them. They were made to look at themselves as God, and we were made or incubated into worshiping them. That's the reason why when they get sick, we sick. That's the reason why when they feel bad, we feel bad. Oh, her hair needs to be straightened out. That pretty blonde hair, leprosy. That need to be, she needs to be comforted. The sickness runs deep, brothers. You almost get nervous when you go into these psychological depths because you might not come out.
Right.
Where we at?
Verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God.
So that he, as Esau, the so-called white man, pretending to be God, go ahead,
sitteth in the temple of God.
He's in all the churches. If you don't come to church and learn Christianity, you ain't learning the Bible. That's what he tells us. He says that we're just, well, I don't know what he refers to us as just people that just skimming or whatever. But if you want to get the real knowledge of the Bible, you got to go sit in in church to get what the Bible is really saying.
Right.
Read it again.
So that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
Showing himself, meaning showing his children and his people that he is God. He is superior. He is Jesus. He's the disciples. That's the reason why they have that mentality. And we poor little black children, we just need help from God. We just need forgiveness from a murdering person because she's connected to Jesus. The doggone judge had to come down and hug a murderer. Man, that's even the people, the pundits, the commentators, they like, we ain't never seen nothing like this before. Huh? Right, exactly. They're supposed to be impartial. She might not, well, let me leave that alone. I made a statement about that. She might not ever judge another high-profile case ever again. Because they already said that the people, the jury ain't stupid, so they saying the judge is stupid too. Yeah, hell no. Judge Judy would have threw the book at her. And hit her upside the head with the damn book and messed that blonde hair all up. Poof. Yeah. Oh, Lordy, 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 Lordy. Now, when it comes to how we as black people are taught, on the other hand, we're taught to look at white people the same supreme special way, like they're connected to Jesus, while looking at our own selves as problematic beings getting in the way of white dominance that's worthy of miscarriages of justice and ultimately death. That's how black people see ourselves in relation to white dominance. We need to be out of the white man's way, breathing up all the good white man's air. We're just a problem. That's how we see. We have that hatred towards each other. Huh? Now I'm going to get into my videos a little bit, then we're going to close it up. Here are some examples of how our thinking is detrimentally shaped. And I wanted to make a mention about shaping how people's minds are shaped. There was years ago, I remember I was listening to this program late at night called Night Talk. That was up here in New York. And it was Bob Law. That was a brother that was running it. And one of his shows, he was speaking about an episode where you had representatives of Harvard that came down to the radio station, and they were talking, or they were celebrating the 150th year of shaping America. This is what they said. This is the Harvard representatives, they understood clearly about the role of an institution. And it is not to quote unquote teach you, but it is in fact designed to shape your thinking. That's what they said. They said they were crediting themselves or celebrating 150 years of shaping America. That was what the topic was. And they understood clearly that their job is to shape how one thinks. Okay? So they understood that. So if that's happening in terms of white folks, don't you think that black people's minds are shaped as well? Yes, we're shaped to hate ourselves. The so-called Negroites, the Israelites that are Negroes really, hating each other, you're shaped to think that way. You ain't no different from the man, the Negro in the street. You just carry a Bible and not even read it. That's how the majority of them act, with this stupidity of hatred, hating other camps and all that foolishness. And the doggone enemy is against all of us. Rodney King, he had to apologize, basically, for hitting the cop's nightstick with his head over 50 times. Because all those cops were afraid for their lives because of this PCP gorilla. He was high on PCP, that's what they were saying about him. Y'all didn't see, a lot of y'all, because this was March, I remember when it actually aired. March 3rd, 1991. I remember when I saw it. I saw it live when it came on. Before it became news. I mean, before it went all over the place. I'm like, what the hell? Let's play the thing. I'm going to go through these videos. Let's just hit them all at once and give them a good dose. Hit it. Start it off. I'm going to be quiet. Just let y'all look. Watch this.
Who had the camera? Where was the camera? Oh my God, they caught this on camera.
It was one of the most disturbing things that we'd seen on video.
The videotaped beating of Rodney King had left many Los Angeles residents outraged.
It was like the first time we had actually seen it. So it was shocking, but at the same time, it was wonderful because now we Americans, we African Americans, we had evidence of our claims of, injustice and mistreatment.
The idea of watching that video originally, give me your reaction to when you saw the Rodney King video. Give me what you felt initially.
I was waiting for somebody to stop it, and the fact that no one came and no one was able to stop it. The Rodney King video in and of itself ignited a culture of wanting to get involved.
I don't think you'd be exaggerating to say this was the first viral video recorded by an individual on amateur equipment. Here we had this video of an event that had just happened. And now today, cell phone videos of horrible events are things we see nearly every day. Back then, this was a whole new ballgame.
There was no way that these officers could not be held responsible for their action. There was no way they could be acquitted. Now we would certainly see justice being done.
The Rodney King video laid the groundwork for black activism because it showed that this was a level of brutality that no one had ever seen. It also showcased that you really didn't have a choice to not get involved. I think
Pause
the Rodney
it for
King
a second. Pause it for a second. I came up listening to a lot of rap music. There's a group in Los Angeles called NWA. Niggas with Attitude. That's their acronym. Y'all all right? But understand the reason why they're saying that, because they said we have to be niggas to speak up against this BS. So you're going to call us niggas by the time it's over with. That's the psychology behind their name. Similar to what Public Enemy, when they came up with their name. They were saying that we're going to be seen as the enemy, as the public's enemy. So they understood that out the gate. Y'all all right? Everybody's with me so far. They made a record called F the Police. Literally, saying it. And people was like, what's wrong with these guys making all this crazy music, blah, blah, blah. That's because all of that pot was boiling before that video came out. So what you see there was happening every day in L.A. Brothers was trying to let the dumb public know what these cops were doing. That's why all that went down. That's the reason why the city went up in smoke. That's how in the hell these brothers been trying to tell us about this all along. You demons catch it on camera and then you let them go, burn it up. That's what that was all about. Y'all understand? I ain't saying that I'm inciting that or condoning. I know how Negroes are. They took me, the so-called SPLC-looking lobster woman. She ugly as hell. Got up there and tried to use because I quoted Isaiah 34 and said that America is going to get blowing up with a mushroom cloud in Isaiah 34. She's gonna take my segment, try to put it in the BBC video. So but you know how that is, huh? Nothing to do with nothing to do with the disappearance of the sister. That was a smear campaign because they hate righteousness. That's the point. Y'all all right? So go ahead. So when the brothers dropped that record, this is what they were complaining about. So now they said we got it on video. Oh, so this is what you was talking about, NWA? Oh, let's see what happens when the video roll. Hit it.
Video was so pivotal in terms of black activism.
What happened to Rodney King without that video would probably never have even made the news.
Pause
With
it. You heard what he said? Without that video, all of that stuff that had happened would have never made the news, just like hundreds of others that got beat that you know nothing about. Playoffs.
Video, that Rodney King beating became a huge story.
We, the jury, find the defendants not guilty of...
When the officers were acquitted, it literally said that you could beat a black man in the street, the world could see it.
Pause it. Pause
And
it.
yet it made...
Do y'all notice that there's a rope around his neck? They had him hold. See, they had a line around his neck, and the cops standing way over there. So every time he tried to get up, they pull him back down, and they're literally trying to break his legs. They were trying to kill him. They were literally trying to kill his ass. That's what they were really trying to do. And he knew that. He knew they were trying to kill him. They were literally, because they weren't even thinking they were being watched. They were having fun. There's recordings of how they were talking about him, calling him a lizard, and all types of stuff when they were beating him. Gorillas in the midst, that's what they were saying on their radio. All that information came out, and they got off. Oh, you up there trying to incite violence. No, I'm telling our people the truth. Hell, you recorded it. I wasn't out there with no camera. Come on.
made no difference. So it was more than a betrayal. The message it sent, what it said to me was, as that I was worthless.
Appeals this evening for calm in Los Angeles.
Now they mentioned, okay, estimated cost of the damages was over $1 billion. Is there more? Now it said of the 50 people, understand how evil these oppressors are. They're mentioning the fact that all of the $1 billion in damages, 50 people are dead, and other things. There's a lot of things that happen as a result of that, right? Play on.
Is it getting better?
It's very hard for me to say that it's getting better. Mothers are still going to be telling their kids to fear for the police, telling their kids to avoid the police at all costs. Because to be honest, there isn't right now anything out there that says that this is going to stop.
Everybody's with me. So now 50 people are dead, $1 billion in damages, smoke going all over the place, all kinds of havoc going on. They finally found Mr. King. Man, listen, man, we need you, nigga. I mean, we need you, Mr. King. You know, that's how they went to him. They put the pressure on him. Play it. Watch this.
Thanks for joining us. For the city of Los Angeles, a third day of tension and violence. As night approaches, police and National Guard units are out in force. Federal troops are on standby. Violence in the city appeared to die down a bit today, but the toll is obvious. 37 people dead, more than 1,300 injured, more than 4,000 arrested. Damage estimate, $200 million and rising. 4,000 National Guard troops have joined the contingent of police and California Highway Patrol officers on the streets.
Now pause it for a second, because I want you to know he's mentioning all of these things, because guess what's happening? They're telling Rodney King this and said, listen, you're the man of the hour, lizard. I mean, you know, you're the man of the hour, gorilla. I mean, you know, what's wrong with me? Why I keep saying these things, you know? You're the man of the hour. Go up there and do you see all the stuff that you're causing? And he actually think that he's the cause of it. Trauma. You laughing. Yeah, but that's what it is. Play it.
Are on the way. A few hours ago, the man who's become the unwilling symbol of this outbreak of violence decided it was time to speak out. Rodney King appealed for peace.
Rodney King, hold it, stop. Them words hurt my ears. Rodney King appealed for peace. Peace will come when you lock those cops that tried to kill me. You let them go, and I'm the one that's causing this? Go ahead.
Out. Rodney King appealed for peace.
I just want to say, you know, can we all get along? Can we get along? Can we stop making it horrible for the older people and the kids? And I mean, we've got enough smog here in Los Angeles. Let alone to deal with the setting these fires and things.
Officer Liam said something. He said he can't even talk. You want to know what's happening? White supremacy is fighting against common sense. And he's conflicted in his statements. Because he knows that what's going down he knows the reason why that's going down. He said these people are doing this because of what y'all did to me. Y'all tried to kill me, man. And y'all let them go. But the other side, the threat, the trauma, if you don't stop this, we're going to deal with you. We're going to kill you next time. That's the word, dissonance. Dissonance. That's a word I ain't used in a while, but that's it. Cognitive dissonance. Go ahead.
It's just not right. It's not right, and it's not gonna change anything. We'll get our justice. They've won the battle, but they haven't won the war.
He don't even believe
we'll
that.
We'll have our day in court.
Pause it. He said, what did he say? I can't even repeat what he said. He said, they've won the battle, but we will win the war. We will get our day in court. You just came from court. So the beating, he continuously hit his head on those nightsticks. That's what's happened. That's what's wrong with him. He constantly hit them nightsticks and lost some sense. This is not funny. But it shows you how upside down things are. Because you're in your enemy's land. Play on.
We'll get our justice. They've won the battle, but they haven't won the war. We'll have our day in court, and that's all we want. And just, I love, you know, I'm neutral. I love people of color. You know, I'm not like they picking me out to be. We've got to quit. We've got to quit. You know, after all, I mean, I can understand the first upset for the first.
Shame on America. Pause it. Shame on America. Why you put that man up there? Huh? We gotta quit. We gotta quit. We gotta quit.
They were supposed to quit.
Play on.
2 hours after the verdict, but to keep going on like this, and to see the security guard shot on the ground, it's just not right. It's just not right, because those people will never go home.
Pause it for a second. One of the things that we didn't speak about was that you see how the brothers reacted. Because there was a lot of talk that came out of this, saying, why they burn down their own neighborhood and all of this. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier. When you have no vision for anything else, you live in the present. The hell with the damn community. The hell with food tomorrow. The hell with, you understand? We in hell and we just going to let everything loose because we don't care no more. Give me that dope. It's the same mentality. It's the same psychology. It's a messed up situation, but this is the reality of what we have to address. Although this was years ago, the mentality is still the same. Our people are still collectively injured by the same abuse. Collectively, we share a collective injury. That's the reason why they would, because he knows what the people are rolling for, even with all them knots in his head. He knows what that's about. Go ahead. I'm almost done with this part. Play on.
To their families again. And I mean, please, we can get along here. We all can get along. We just gotta, you know. I mean, we're all stuck here for a while. Let's try to work it out. Let's try to beat it. You know. Let's try and work it out.
Now, pause it for a second. Somebody might say, you know, because this was in 1991 that this happened. 91. That was the year I came into the truth. Now that I think about it, that's the year I came into the truth. That was a long time ago. So how is that relevant today? Very relevant. We just saw that yesterday. We just saw it today. We still have hope. This man just murdered my brother. This woman just murdered my brother in cold blood because she was afraid. The cops that beat him, that's the same tactic that they use. They actually said that he was charging. Y'all need to go back and review this thing. They said that he was charging, it was like 9 to 13 cops out there. Some of them were standing by watching. What kind of fear were they in? You had enough time to get a rope around his neck and constantly pull him every time he tried to stand up. You actually working on that femur, trying to literally break his femur, meaning the top leg bone. They were trying to break it. If y'all can find the video where they don't have the words on it, it's horrible. The man bled everywhere. There was a woman that saw it. She said they were beating him like they were trying to kill him. They were literally trying to end his life, man. They were trying to kill him. And he knows that. And he did not know that it was on camera. Nobody knew that they were being filmed, so they were having a field day beating on this man like this, and they all get off. That's a hell of a trauma to even live through that. You the victim of that. What's that's going to do to your mind? Give me the next clip. Let me show you what it's going to do to his mind. So my brother that in the courtroom, the Jean family, they're going to experience some of this too. Sad to say, they're going to experience some of this too. Because they're going to let that white girl go. They're not going to keep her locked up at all.
A city in flames. Entire neighborhoods burned to the ground.
Pause it for a second, because I mentioned the word settlement.
Now,
how many other people do you think that got beat got settlements? Nothing. Some of them can't even speak because they're dead. Go ahead.
2 decades later, what's it like to be the man whose beating, seen round the world, ignited one of the worst race riots in U.S. history?
Do you still have
Pause it. I don't even like that language. Why would you even equate that video that's been shown around the world and your attribution to that is that it ignited one of the world's largest riots? And you put that question to the victim of the beating. The gall of these demons. You even bring that question to, how does it feel that your video was used to spark the riot all over the planet Earth, basically? Or, you know, that's been viewed all over. How do you feel about that? That's not even a question. The total disregard for our intelligence. The total disregard for our feelings. The total insult. Go ahead. Play it.
Yeah, I do. What's a nightmare? Do you wake up like tossing and turning? Sometimes even hearing the voices, you know, that was going on that night. Get down, get down, get down, you effing, you know, those words, you know, and so I'll have to wake up and
pause it. Y'all hear this? 20 years later, he's still having nightmares. Waking up, hearing the word, get down, you effing, he was saying it. That's the psychological trauma that resulted from that thing. That's literal trauma. Go ahead.
Oh, hey, man, it's all right. Look outside, it's all green, blue.
King's nightmare begins just after midnight. He and two friends, out celebrating, head west on the 210 freeway.
I had just gotten word that my old construction company had called me to come back to work that following Monday.
But the celebration is cut short. State police clock King's car going 110 miles per hour and immediately start a nearly 8-mile high-speed chase through LA neighborhoods.
I was doing 100. I did every bit of 100, and I'm not proud of it.
Following our interview, Rodney King agrees to relive those terrifying moments by taking me back to the scene.
Coming down to 210.
As we
Listen.
retrace his steps.
I want y'all to pay attention to what he says. Yes, him, because it's almost saying like, I know he's not saying that, but somebody like it's justified because he was doing 100. No. This a white man was walking through a park with children with a assault rifle, and they talked him down. You remember that? So he's saying that he took the reporter. He says he wanted to relive or show him the events of that night. So he's explaining. Back it up a little bit. Back it up a little bit. Go ahead. Listen.
Our interview. Rodney King agrees to relive those terrifying moments by taking me back to the scene.
Coming down to 210.
As we retrace his steps, we discuss those split-second decisions.
Pause it. He's saying that he's reliving it, and as they're discussing it, he's remembering the split-second decisions he had to make because he was being chased. Nobody's even addressing, because I'm not him, I don't know, but I can speculate. He's running, trying to get away from these cops because he's heard all of the previous beatings. He listened to the rap music. He knows. He lives there, for crying out loud. So he knows that a lot of black people died at the hands of the police, have been severely beaten and never been reported. So he said, if I'm going to get stopped anywhere, hopefully somebody might see it. That's traumatic. You don't want to get, because I don't want to get stopped in no doggone woods. Well, ain't nobody, man, if my car break down out there, I'm crying to heaven, Lord, help, please. Y'all all right? Let me break down in front of the brothers. Hey, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you a perfect example. My brother from San Antonio, Maratazar, Officer Maratazar, all praise to the Most High. He got pulled over. Something silly. But it wasn't nothing, I don't think it was anything that because he never got charged with anything. So it was just, I guess maybe he had a light blown out or something like that. So when he pulled over at the hotel where all the brothers was at. That's right. Give the Lord a hand for that thing. When he pulled over, the white cop walked up to the window. And when they walked, he looked like he was, and then he looked up and he saw the balcony was full of Israelites. So the brother said, the man said, he said, who are they? He said, those are my brothers. That changed the whole scene. Have a nice night. That was the end of the deal. That daggone thing was so beautiful, man. He got to tell that story. Well, I got to let somebody else, because they might tag him. They say, oh, you bragging about it? We're going to get you. Y'all all right? But anyway, but that was a beautiful piece of information there. I give the Lord a hand for that thing. But when we was watching this film here, he's basically saying the same thing. Play it again. Play this part. Just when he was talking about the split seconds. Right there. Yeah.
Taking me back to the scene.
Coming down to 210.
As we retrace his steps, we discuss those split-second decisions.
I exit here on Paxton.
Where'd you pull over?
I seen all those apartments over there, so I said, oh man, let me stop right here. If it goes down, somebody will see it.
Once he stops, they are surrounded by police. King's two friends are arrested without incident.
Pause
your
it.
hands
But
up.
he said he had 2 other people in the car. He said the other 2 were arrested without incident. You want to know what happened? They pulled them out and got them away from the scene. That's what happened with them. Because why in the hell you ain't hear nothing from them? He got them out of the way and all that. But the point of what he's making was that when they were doing that, when he imagining, because he probably heard hundreds of stories like that. So the trauma, just on that alone, I have to get to a place where if they kill me, somebody might have seen it. I'm not even thinking about a recorder. Let me tell you how far that goes if people think this is irrelevant. The trauma that we go through, Sandra Bland, she has to pull her cell phone out and basically record her own demise. We have to make sure that somebody's seeing it because we might die for a traffic light, for a light in the car or something. That's a terrorized people, brothers. We're terrorized. We're terrorized. Make sure that my battery, I got storage in my phone because I don't know how long this ordeal might take place. And you see your battery go dead or something like that, and you say, oh man, and you start panicking. Because if this don't tell on us, these people going to lie on me and I'm just dead. And they say I'm a criminal. They found crack pipe. They found this. They found that. You don't know what might happen. Just that psychological terror is how we live. I'm being real with y'all. Y'all know it. Y'all know what it is. Go ahead.
Rodney King would have a much different fate.
When I opened the door, she said, take 3 steps back away from the car, which I did that. Took 3 steps back. When I took the 3 steps back, said lay down. So when I laid down like this. And my face was facing this way so I could see him. And they said, no, put your effing head down, face down. When I finally faced down, he bam, took the blow, bam, a real hard blow to the temple. When he did that, I just looked, and then I went up like that to run this way with my hands up to show no threat. And that's when I didn't know, but my leg was broke.
When Rodney King had the blood on his face, that mugshot of you with the blood on your face, who was he then?
Oh man, a guy that was almost dead and just like happy to be able to still have that face, to be able to see that face.
And Rodney King now, all cleaned up, trimmed goatee, beads around his neck. Who is Rodney King now?
I consider myself a decent, good human being.
Are you able to forgive those cops?
Oh yeah, I've been given a break many times in life. And everybody's entitled to it, I didn't die, you know what I mean?
No animosity.
Nah, for what?
Give me the next video. Give me the next video. Yeah, the psychology of slaves run deep. Whatever happened to Rodney King?
So what they told CNN is, by all accounts, this was an accidental drowning, that there were no signs of foul play. Basically, this morning, around 5 a.m., as you suggested, the 911 call came in. It came in from Rodney King's fiancée, and she said that she had heard a splash. They had been talking. She went outside, and Rodney King was at the bottom of the pool. Police then responded, a 911 call, came out here, tried to revive Rodney King after getting him out of the pool. They were unable to revive him, and he was pronounced dead later at a local hospital. Now, Rodney King had made swimming a daily part of his life. It was a ritual, and in fact, as we've been told...
Pause it. Now, he didn't... Now, listen to this here, because it wasn't foul play. That means it was somebody that actually committed... Right. So it wasn't that. And he was a decent swimmer, at least, because that was part of his therapy from that beating that he unjustly got. Go ahead.
Rodney King was swimming in many ways because of the therapy that he sustained during his injuries. It was a physical therapy, so this was part of his routine every day. And perhaps no one at CNN certainly knows Rodney King more than Stan Wilson, my colleague. I'm going to bring him in here. Stan, When you met up with Rodney just a short time ago, about a month and a half ago, you were in the backyard at the pool, and again, this was really part of his life.
Well, when I asked him, how did you manage to survive the beating 20 years ago, he mentioned that that was his main objective, to get through that terrible phase in his life. But the other phase was his struggle with addiction. And at the poolside, although it was a ritual for him, he also made it a point to try and get his life together. And his wife Cynthia, or his fiancée Cynthia, was an integral part of that. And so swimming was not just the therapy, the physical therapy, but it was the mental therapy he needed to cope with his other struggles in life.
To cope with his other struggles in life. Pause it. But see, they said a lot there. He was basically a good swimmer, but he still had other issues, other demons that were still surrounding him because of the trauma that he had suffered. He was still suffering from this. Dealing with alcohol, drugs, all these things to help you forget the trauma. This is my thought. Perhaps overindulged in it and off themselves, so to speak. Because sometimes these traumas can have that kind of effect where you just want to escape the whole thing. You'll understand that. So, although they're not saying it, but that's a form of suicide. When we drown ourselves in alcohol, pump excessive dope and cocaine and things in our system, that is basically our spirit crying out to escape the hell. That's why they call it hallucinatory drugs, to cause us to hallucinate or hover above the reality so that we can escape what we don't like. Okay? That's where all the alcoholism and all these other things come in, because we're trying to escape. So the little settlement money didn't do anything for him. He dead now. So that's a terrible reality. Last video. I have plenty more, but it's getting late. Give me my sister. It's the last. Then I'm going to read some scriptures, and we're going to end it there. And if y'all want to ask some questions about the class or whatever, or break bread and we can be ready to roll. Nope, the last one. I got to skip all of that. I had some more good stuff, but it's too much. What? Nope, past that. Nope, let me see. Is it the last one? Yeah, that's the last one. Jump up. I'm going to end it with the one that I'm showing you. I got my sister. That one. Listen to this here. All this whole talk about forgiveness. Just listen to this situation here. Listen to my sister go off. There you go. Now, I don't know who she is. I don't know what she believes, but she was making a lot of sense, huh? Okay. Well, she was making a lot of sense, so I just had to bring it out. Y'all all right? Hit it.
It's very baffling to me that Amber Geiger can get 10 years for murder when my own brother is serving 14 years for assault, and Juan Rayford Jr. is serving 220 years and 11 life sentences when no one was hurt. What's just as baffling is the black sheriff stroking Amber's hair, the black judge hugging her, and Botham Jean's own brother forgiving and hugging her. And I'm not judging him, because people handle grief in different ways. When you're grieving, what you desire is peace, and forgiveness brings you peace. But so many people, white and black, are applauding him for his compassion and forgiveness. I'm not opposed to forgiveness, but this goes for everyone. Reserve forgiveness and compassion for the black-on-black crime that everyone loves to bring up whenever we talk about police brutality. Reserve forgiveness and compassion for the ghettos that you look down on because you haven't had to live that experience. Reserve forgiveness and compassion for the black-owned business that you went to once and vowed never to go to again because of a minor issue. Reserve forgiveness and compassion for black men and women not understanding each other due to a shared traumatic experience that neither of us are responsible for. Reserve forgiveness and compassion when we talk about these injustices instead of telling us to get over it. I'm so tired of us having such a forgiving heart to people that openly brutalize us, yet we don't pass on any of that forgiveness to each other. Forgiveness is beautiful and necessary when the intention is to rectify past and ongoing wrongs. But because they have not and have no intention to even admit or correct their wrongs, the slavery, the genocides, and their extensive and ongoing crimes against humanity, they do not deserve our compassion or our forgiveness. Again, we as black people have to stop being so docile. Docility never works and it never will.
It's documented hatred, basically. Want us to remain victims of rape, robbery, and death and exploitation. That's what it's all about. Let's read the scripture. Give me Revelation 11. We're gonna close it up after this here because we need the Lord to step in. So let me just read this and we're gonna end it there. Y'all all right with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Revelation chapter 11, verse 1.
Revelation 11:1. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein.
So the Most High was given, Christ was given John a revelation of what's about to happen in the end time. Come on.
But the court which is without the temple leave out.
So he wanted to measure the nation of Israel. Go ahead.
And measure it not. Excuse me. But the court which is without
But the
temple,
court that is without, on the outside of the Israelites, go ahead.
leave out.
Meaning they're not included. Go ahead.
And measure it not.
And measure it not. This goes deeper than that. It's talking about the outer court and the inner court of the temple. But I'm not going into the deepness of that. Read.
For it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread underfoot 42 months.
1,260 days. Read.
And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth.
So clothed in sackcloth was us in slavery. And we were prophesying because as we read Deuteronomy 28, we were literally living out what's written there. So we were literally prophesying Deuteronomy 28 in slavery. Ain't that something? In sackcloth. That's slavery. So when we were serving, getting our backs whipped, trying to find imaginary boots, we were actually prophesying. In other words, bringing life to Deuteronomy the 28th chapter in prophecy, in sackcloth. We're the Israelites. Give me the 8th verse.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
So this is us waking up in this evil place, Sodom and Egypt, our captivity. Read.
And they of the people, and kindreds, and tongues, and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half.
3 days and a half equals 42 months. It also equals 1,260 days again. Same time period, slavery. Go ahead.
And shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
Because we were spiritually dead. We were Negroes, like we was reading about earlier. The Negro mind. The word Negro itself means dead. Go ahead.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth.
In history, Judah and Israel, the 2 kingdoms, was throwing Esau off cliffs. So they were trying to get back at us. You read in the book of Kings. Read.
And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood up upon their feet.
That's what you saw in Chicago. That's what you saw in Memphis. And they saw us. So they nervous and scared to death. So while they're busy doing all this evil to our people, the Lord is raising up this remnant. Can I get a witness? Come on.
And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Which saw them, not sitting in some room behind a computer. Which saw them in the street. Saw them. Go ahead.
And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither.
That's the chariots coming to take us out. So we're almost at the end of this thing. So all this ugly reality and psychological damage that we're suffering, we're almost at the end of this thing. And there's going to be extreme payback for what was done to our people. And I thank the Lord for that thing. I give the Lord thanks for that thing, man. Give it up. Read on.
And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them.
These are not the enemies, is the real enemies.
Right.
The snakes, they're going to behold us. What? It was these the Lord chose, like it says in Wisdom of Solomon 5, that had us in derision. That's the real enemies. They're going to burn to a crisp. They're going to die. That's what the book of Psalms 91 is talking about. He said, 10,000 at thy side and 1,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. The Most High going to be killing them while we're being delivered. All praises to God for that thing, man. Read.
And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell.
That's this country. Come on. And the bomb's going to make it fall. Read.
And in the earthquake was slain of men 7,000. And the remnant were affrighted.
Come on. That was us now. Come on.
And gave glory to God of heaven.
And we gave glory to God of heaven, because that's going to be a terrible day. We're going to be glad, but we're going to be scared. But that thing come down. That's why it says that he will cover us with his wings, but it shall not come nigh thee. We're going to be scared when it come down, but we're going to be happy that we're getting delivered and seeing our enemies get the real justice. I ain't going to be hugging nobody in that day. I ain't going to be hugging them. I'm going to be like, let that fire hug your ass.
Right.
Read.
Verse 14. The second woe is past.
The second war is past. God is letting us know what time period this is happening. The Second World War is already past. So it's letting you know what time period that this is talking about. Right. Now, read.
The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly.
The third woe is what's going to take us out of here. The Third World War, which is the nuclear one, where they already have weapons. All they got to do is press buttons to send the fire right over here. God got all that set up. So ain't nobody getting out of God's intellectual trap of making bombs, of making weapons to your own destruction. Thank God for that thing. Beautiful. Read.
And the seventh angel sounded, and there was great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdom of our Lord.
Hallelujah! The kingdoms of this world has become ours. Everybody going into slavery. Everybody is going to get it.
Amalek, Esau, Moab.
They all going to get it.
Right.
Huh? Shoot. I ain't going to come down off the bench and hug nobody. I'm going to come down off the bench and put a chain on your behind. Shoot.
Now they will see the true men of God. We are not black men, we are the Israelites. That's right. Take care of us. Take care of us. And our children too. And our children too. We have abandoned. We have repented. How are you? How are you? People want to know who's the king.
O nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father. O nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father.
Now why they trying to make it so hard to serve God? And why when I say that I'm a Jew it sound odd? For years I've been walking around saying that I'm a black man. I ain't saying that no more, it sound wrong, man.
This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcast, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.